Ghostwire Tokyo is a neon-drenched, folklore-infested, unexpectedly action-packed game. I was lucky enough to watch a demo of the game as I tried frantically to keep track of all the new details that were thrown my way with the veracity of those objects visitors hurl at our boy Akito. You'll know all about them and him in just a bit. Quick note, some of the stuff I mentioned doesn't have corresponding footage due to the B-roll I was provided with, so you'll have to use your imagination and just trust me. Anyway, here's 15 new things you need to know about Ghostwire Tokyo. Akito is the name of the poor soul whose life is in your hands as he tries to right the wrongs that are plaguing Tokyo, courtesy of the enigmatic and selfish Hannya. When all the people in Tokyo are rendered into spirit form through contact with some kind of occult fog, Akito is one of the few who can put a stop to it. Like others who somehow survived the fog and the visitors who walk Tokyo's streets, he has a personal interest in getting things back to normal. His sister is one of the many spirits who need rescuing. In the preview I watched, all the voice work is in Japanese with English subtitles, which is neat. Like Ghost of Tsushima, it looks like the game is fully voice acted in Japanese, so you can pick between sub and dub. Sub all the way, baby. Tackling the underworldly threat on your own is quite the task, and I'm getting stressed just thinking about it, so thank God Akito has someone to help him out. KK. KK isn't your usual guide though, as this skilled ghost hunter was, ironically, turned into a ghost himself, but somehow fused with Akito. He's that black mist around Akito's face and hands. Instead of being corporeal, KK is taking shelter inside Akito, now a sometimes grouchy but knowledgeable voice inside his head, who knows how to tackle the underworld threat seeping into Tokyo. The big bad of Ghostwire Tokyo is Hannya, which, not so coincidentally, is also the name of the type of no-theatre mask he's wearing. The Hannya mask depicts a jealous woman demon, and I have one on my wall as we speak. Anyway, Hannya says that what he's doing, turning the civilians of Tokyo into spirits, is salvation, yet from what I saw, it looks like he's destroying them somehow, which I personally would not call salvation. He seems to think you're trying to be a saviour too, which he's not too fond of. Instead of people walking the streets, there are what KK calls visitors. I've already referred to them a couple of times in this video, so here's what they are. These are creatures from the underworld who attack humans on sight, brought into our world along with that eerie fog. The most common type is the tall, slender man-looking one with an umbrella and the woman counterpart, along with these invisible students. Aside from the visitors, there are more signs of what KK calls underworld interference, in the form of a red and black, tree-like corruption that you need to destroy on sight. Sometimes human figures are trapped within the corruption, frozen in their last moments. Most of these visitors take the form of hostile figures from Japanese folklore, like this urban legend of the slit-mouthed woman, or Kuchisake Onna. Please excuse my Japanese pronunciation if it's not quite right. Although I didn't get to play any Ghostwire Tokyo, what I will say is that, unfortunately, encounters with the visitors aren't really that atmospheric. As the game is action-packed, I felt like the common suited umbrella-wielding people just came across as mobs to kill, instead of having some kind of eeriness or danger about them, which was the impression I got from the first trailer for Ghostwire Tokyo. I only saw a small slice of the game though, so I could be wrong about that, and I hope I am. Guns aren't any use against the visitors, so instead Akito, under KK's insistence, uses a bow that KK originally stole from a shrine. All property is theft, according to KK. Okay bud, whatever you say. The bow is your main line of defense against the visitors, although you can also use Ethereal Weaving, talismans, and exorcisms to get rid of foes too. For instance, to exorcise a spirit or break a seal on a door or something, you form a seal by tracing a symbol with your thumbstick, then execute it to exorcise the aforementioned entity / open said door. Ethereal Weaving is different, being much faster and is what you'll use most of the time. You use a thread-like power to tangle up the visitors, weaving it out of thin air, then grab their cause, which is their source as far as I can discern, and banish them by twisting the threads and entangled cores. Stagger multiple visitors in one go, and you can even link up their cores to get a multiple kill combo. It looks sick, and it's unlike anything I've seen in game combat before. Love it. Barriers are also something you'll have to tackle in Ghostwire Tokyo when the fiendish underworld tries to bind you in one place. If left undismantled, barriers can crush you inside buildings, so they're kind of a time trial as well. First you'll have to find the barrier's source, which come in the form of barrier stones, then destroy the stones before you're crushed by the twisted building you've been trapped inside. And about those buildings. Ghostwire Tokyo doesn't just take place in the streets, convenience stores, and apartment buildings of Tokyo. During the time trial where Akito was trying to find the barrier stones I mentioned before, the apartment building twisted into a distorted version of itself, with rooms being upside down on their side, twisting and turning into obstacle courses Akito had to navigate. It was really cool, and by the looks of the trailer and footage I was sent, we'll be getting more of these strange distortions in the rest of the game. As I mentioned before, Ghostwire Tokyo is action-focused. Tackling enemies head-on is the bulk of the combat from what I saw, with blocking, weaving, and avoiding thrown objects being the stuff you're going to be mainly concerned with. You can still sneak and do a quick purge on visitors from the shadows, and who knows, one of the skill trees might be to do with sneaking, but again, so far it looks like quickfire action is the main purview of Ghostwire Tokyo. Spectral Vision helps you find hidden doors, objects, and track people. Not much more to say about that apart from it's appropriately neon and looks cool. Along with the visitors, yokai have also found their way into our world. But these creatures don't hurt you. Cat yokai manage the now empty convenience stores and shops, trading with you in your travels. I saw Akito save a Zashiki Warashi, a lucky spirit, from a corrupted landlord, and tengus fly high above the buildings, which you can grapple onto to get up to higher places. Catch other yokai or help them out, and Akito can even gain their power. Gotta love some cross-dimensional cooperation. Back to that fog I mentioned before. Whoever the fog touches disappears and turns into a spirit, and it's down to Akito to preserve these spirits inside a Katashiro. A Katashiro is an object used in Shinto worship to attract spirits, so it makes sense that you rescue the wandering spirits by preserving them inside a Katashiro. At these phone boxes, you exchange the spirits you've caught for Maker, the game's currency, and XP. I don't want to overwhelm you, but there are 240,300 spirits to transfer in total. Cleansing shrines is a big part of the game, as it's how you free the spirits of those who were taken by the fog and clear some of the barriers on the map. Specifically, travelling to shrines and cleansing their torii gates is what you'll spend a lot of your time doing in Ghostwire Tokyo. Have a bit of spare cash, and you can also donate to the shrine, ranging from 100 to 500 Mika, then you wish for something. Spirits can't always be instantly saved. Sometimes they need help passing on, so you have to aid them so they don't leave any unfinished business behind, which is what's binding them to our world. In the demo, I saw a spirit of an elderly lady who couldn't leave because she was searching for her missing Zashiki Warashi, a spirit which brings fortune and good luck. Her landlord kidnapped it, and when you encounter him to retrieve the Zashiki Warashi, he's been literally corrupted. Instead of being a serene blue, he's a mess of darkness with shining red eyes. Exorcise him, rescue the Zashiki Warashi, and bring it back to the woman, then she's able to move on. Lastly, one of the most important things about Ghostwire Tokyo is, like many other games recently, you can show basic empathy and pet dogs, cats, and tanuki. If that doesn't get you bonded with these animals, you can also read their thoughts. What is the dog thinking? I must know. I'm gutted to report that I wasn't shown what this thought-reading process is like in the demo, so we'll have to tread that road together, friend. And that's 15 new things you need to know about Ghostwire Tokyo. What intrigues you about Ghostwire Tokyo, and what are your impressions of it so far? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, thanks very much, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Eurogamer as we have a new video out every single day. Now, I'm going to go and imagine myself walking along rain-soaked, neon-drenched Tokyo streets and befriending that lady with the big scissors, so I'll see you next time.